Hello and welcome to another episode of Grit, a hockey podcast. My name is Dakota, and I just want to say fuck Kansas the state, fuck Kansas the band, and fuck Tom Petty.
Wait, what did Tom Petty do? Hold up.
Those were presented without comment. I can let you guys in on the backstory after the cast.
Oh, you really threw me off my groove.
You're like, whoa, is Tom Petty beefing with us?
You threw off his groove.
Well, I've been officially thrown off the train and left behind. I have no clue what we're talking about now.
Surprise, this isn't a hockey podcast. This is a Tom Petty hate podcast.
Oh.
So, you may notice that I am accompanied by several voices. One of these voices is Jake.
Like I said, you threw me off my groove. I don't. Coke coffee sucks.
This is true.
Drinking a Coke coffee is the worst thing that has happened to any of us this week.
Yeah, definitely. I'm also joined by Dylan.
Hey, VR chat is poggers.
Hold on, fuck off. I know you like to do your fucking VRP fucking virtual sex, but Jesus, dude, you don't need to bring that in here.
He just likes being Kermit Spider and creeping people out in random fucking rooms.
Hold on, there's a lot more Kermits now. It's not just Kermit Spider.
Okay.
No.
Now he has Kermit with a dick.
Close.
I'm not gonna judge you for what you're into, but there are some things that you shouldn't share with other people, is all I'm saying. Like enjoying VR chat or liking feet or owning an Xbox. Like, you just don't want to tell other people you do those things, but you can
Put the pink flamingo in your front yard like the rest of them, all right?
I'm also joined by Devin.
Hello, I am lost in the sauce.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
yeah, that's the norm.
And finally, we're joined by Indy.
Hey, Resident Evil Village is really good.
Fun hockey podcast. Enjoy video games. Some could say there's never been a better time to be playing video games.
Alright, so here's the plan. Once we get into time off before the playoffs, we need to have Jake and Dakota play NHL games, and then we just commentate on that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God.
I'm a big fan of this idea.
I do regularly forget to cancel my PS Plus, so I do have it currently. Every month that charge comes in, and I'm like, fuck, and then I don't cancel it. So
They got you. They got you on the auto renew.
Yep.
You'll pay them fucking $5 a month every month until you die.
It's 5. That's cute.
As somebody who hasn't paid for PS Plus in 2 years, I'm behind on what that actually costs.
I mean, for a year it's like 60, but for a month it's 15.
That shit suck.
Yeah.
So, speaking of hockey games, there were 4 of them since the last time we recorded last week.
What the fuck?
Yep.
Oh, no.
Some people only think there are 3.
I was about to say, there was only 3 in my eyes.
I only saw 3, dude.
You know, not everybody can be as dedicated as I am. I understand.
For once, didn't I make it to all of them?
I know.
Yeah,
If you can do it, they can do it too, is all I'm saying.
Well, technically, I was there, and the body was willing, but the internet was not.
Like I was telling these guys, you need to Mac filter out your roommates' devices when the games are on the router.
Yep.
Just to save yourself some internet.
I'm gonna Mac filter everyone else in the dorm.
And then I made a joke and I said it's not your roommate's fault that he has to seed all of his torrents.
All right. So the first game that transpired since the last time we recorded was 5-4 Avalanche victory in San Jose.
Get fucked.
Get fucked. The Sharks.
I fucking hate the Sharks so much.
Yep.
I kind of forgot because we haven't played them a ton this season.
And then we played them a ton.
Yeah.
Fuck the
4 in a
Sharks.
row.
Yeah. Well, they're out of the playoffs and are useless and have an $11 million paperweight, so whatever. It's fine. Fuck the Sharks.
Jesus.
Is Carlson at 11 right now?
He's like
Or
10.
is-
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 10,
Well,
11.
Burns is at like 8.8 or something, right? Or is he at 10 as well?
He's 8.8. He doesn't have Dowdy money.
Well, because he's number 88 and he does the like Sidney Crosby thing where it's like 87878787 is his contract. So yeah, I mean they've got like two $10 million paperweights on that team. Jesus. What a time to be alive. There isn't a whole lot to talk about in this game. It was a 5-4 high scoring hockey game that the Avalanche came out on top of. The two things I would say are very notable about this game are that this is the first game of the season that the Avalanche came from behind and won in the third period. Something that they haven't done before this year.
Bam.
Yeah, they were 8-0 in the DNVR Discord. I was like, well, it's time we get one. And then we got one. And I was like, you know what? It's, not a big deal.
Yeah.
The secret is to bitch.
Yeah.
No, the secret is to believe in your homies. Power of friendship.
Believing in your homies is just bitching at them until success occurs.
Well, no. So the thing is, the way it works is if Burakovsky is not scoring, you have to bitch at him and he'll finally score. If Kadri's not scoring, you just have to, need a clutch goal and he'll fucking score.
Yep. And that was the other notable thing about this game is that Kadri finally got a big goal. Finally got a goal.
It was
the goal
a
he got was
big goal. Dude, he got the puck at the blue line and I was like, I think he's going to go score right now. And he just kind of walked in and put the puck in the net and I was like, oh, he did.
Yeah.
He did exactly that.
That was a weird shot to take, but he fucking made it, right?
Nope, he had it. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah,
that was the most confident I've ever fucking seen a player on the ice just be like, well, okay.
Well, so I say that like he meant to do it, right? It was
no. You don't
totally
understand.
calculated,
Fuck you.
but-
Don't doubt the Naz.
But he intentionally took a really hard angle to lull the goalie into a false sense of security and then fucking scored on him.
No, delete all that. We're just accepting that Naz is dominant.
We're just accepting that Naz is nasty. All right.
Nazem the Drem.
So yeah, that was an exciting game. I think that about halfway through the game, our expectations for it were very low because the Avalanche went down by 2 goals and we're not looking particularly good. And then we got a fucking crazy come from behind victory out of it.
Yeah, I blew 5 loads.
Oh no.
Only 5?
Only 5.
Yeah, I know. Rookie
Uh,
numbers.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty
Well-
fun, that game.
Actually, never mind. He blew the same amount of loads as there were goals, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was
the
completely
Naz
on
goal was good
purpose.
for at least 3 pancakes. I don't know what you're talking about.
So the next game that the Avalanche played once again against the Sharks, last game of the season against them.
The Sarks.
The Sharks. The Sharks take that one 3-2.
That game sucked.
Yep.
Next.
I was about to say I
Because
slept in
I
that game.
slept through it.
The
Yeah, that's why we
Avalanche-
lost.
Yeah. The Avalanche got goalied by a nobody, and then the Sharks' second line took over.
Yeah. There was some good toasty joasty moments, some good Burra moments. Those 2 things will carry through, as we'll see. But yeah, I mean, Hurdle hates us, LeBanc hates us, fucking Vander Kane hates us. All these stupid pee-pee head shark loser mans.
Yep.
Got him, boys.
This was was it this game or was it the game before that we saw the hook, the new hook?
Newhook played in that
it
game.
was-
It was this game because I was bitching at them for missing his first game.
Yeah. Trust me, when I got up at 1 o'clock in the morning, I sat there and looked at who played, and I was like, "Oh, Newhook played," and I was like, "Well, I really wish I didn't miss this
I was trying to
fucking
spam
game."
it in the Discord, man.
I know.
Link even responded to one of those. I was like, no.
Oh no, you're not gonna
um,
wake me up with Discord. You're gonna have to actually call me.
I just said I know where you live, bitch.
You just got to do it with text-to-speech next time.
I couldn't remember if Kadri clutched on the wing on that first Sharks game, or if he clutched and then they moved him over to the wing to support Newhook. Because that didn't quite seem right to me, but at the same time, I thought it was that
they moved him over for Newhook.
Yeah.
Which
is
kind of weird. Yeah. I mean, they really just decided, okay, well, kid's gonna get a shot. That's all there is to it. Fuck you.
Yeah. He is. We've talked about him before. He is a person that we believe is probably the second line center of the future. So having his first opportunity be in the 2C position is that's kind of huge, and it shows a lot of confidence in the team and in him, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, we've clinched, and they clearly don't give a fuck about getting the President's Trophy.
They're gonna like bumblefuck their way into the President's Trophy.
If we win out, we get it no matter what. If Vegas drops a game, we get it no matter what. Like, you know.
Yeah.
That'll be okay.
We have,
but it definitely is like they don't care, so they're just like, whatever, man. Play the kid. Let's go.
Yeah. We have one more game against Vegas and then 2 against LA. The Vegas one is going to be really interesting. But at this point, like, LA doesn't have a lot to play for, so I could see the road to the President's Trophy being like pretty solidified as long as we can get past Vegas on Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if we beat Vegas, I think we just get it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, not numerically, but I just feel like at that point you have to.
Yeah.
I feel like it just feels right.
I was about to say, if we beat Vegas, just go clean up LA. Don't let them even attempt to stop you.
Yep, and then that would guarantee us home ice for the entire playoffs, as long as they're in it. So moving on to the next 2 games, they were pretty much carbon copies, so I don't feel too bad about kind of covering them together. Both games, 3-2 Avalanche victories that are pretty much helmed by Cale Makar because they are sitting Nathan MacKinnon.
And he is good.
Yeah.
I was about to say, Cale literally owned the Kings for those 2 games.
He's a sniper.
He's just like, look at me. I'm Nathan MacKinnon now.
Yeah, I mean, the Kings kind of just are over it, I think.
Yeah, I think they're on to the next year.
They got officially knocked out and stuff recently, so I think they're just like, whatever, dude. But I don't know, it's kind of sad. I was wishing to see more from Byfield. I'm happy Kopitar got his 1,000th point before the series started.
Yeah.
Because I saw he was close, and I was like...
Oh, so I was watching the game with the family, and this week we kind of had a family emergency regarding one of our family pets. So we were sitting in the living room together with them and just watching the game because they're Kings fans. I'm an Avalanche fan. And we're just like, chilling and just having a really nice moment to ourselves. And I see Ryan Graves come up with the puck, and I'm like, watch your fucking ankles, boys. He's going to hit him. And then immediately he just rips one right into Byfield's ankle, and it looks like he might have like broken something for a second. That's just kind
I didn't realize it was Byfield.
It was Byfield.
No.
I'm like, I told you to watch your fucking ankles. What are you doing out there?
I was about to say, no, if you see Ryan Graves on the ice, don't put your star prospects out there. Save their fucking ankles.
Let's just don't have him play on that side, dude. He's ripping him left from the point.
No, what do you mean? Those shots can go anywhere. We have learned.
They can go anywhere, but they're gonna hit the guy that's covering him 6 feet away, giving them a breakaway if he doesn't break their ankle. So that's his strat. He either gives them a breakaway or he breaks their ankle. So you better shoot it hard, bitch.
You better pray that your shin pads are excellent.
That's my coaching advice to fucking Graves.
This one's free, kid. Consider it a professional courtesy.
Well, AJ was talking about how Timmins let one rip from the point and hit the guy right in front of him. And instead of scrambling and trying to shoot backwards and freak out, he went straight for the guy and cross-checked him. So the guy didn't get a breakaway because of that, right? Like, I was like, okay, cool, fuck yeah, dude.
Laying the fucking wood on him.
Just shows that Timmins has the composure, man. He's like, oh, some shit happened? Okay. Whereas you see Graves scramble and then fall over and fucking give a guy a breakaway. Not here to completely shit on Graves. He's been way better, but...
Oh, yeah, he's been playing a lot better, but still.
That is the funny thing that was pointed out. And I was like, you know what? Good on Timmins. I'm sure he's watched a ton of Graves and just been like, well... Because Timmins can't really skate either. I mean, he's been way better, to be fair. The discussion of Timmins was always he wasn't very good at skating, but these last couple games, my man has been flying. Apparently, he's been working with a skating coach.
Oh, that's good to hear. I wish Graves would do the same. But yeah, Timmins has been really good down this stretch. Nemeth has been abysmal.
Yeah. Nemeth's been abysmal. Soda's been
meh.
Well, Soda was
detrimental.
Was missing last night, so
yeah. No, I know. Apparently, his back hurt.
Ah.
Yeah.
And then they said, oh, yeah, he just didn't want to play the back-to-back games. And then in DMVR chat, I made a back to lower back joke.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that in a normal situation, Graves is probably the 7th defenseman, right? But with Nemeth playing the way that he's been, just giving up turnovers left and right. There was a Sharks goal he gave up where he had a turnover that he recovered from and then immediately turned it over again. And then they scored. So like shit like that, he's easily the 7th man in my opinion. And
I don't remember that happening to Nemeth, but I remember it happening to Nuke.
Oh, it was Nuke. That's my mistake.
Yeah, Nuke had the double turnover. Nemeth had the Nuke. I'm trying to pass it through 4 people and it went off of Joseph's skate and right to a Sharks player. Right to the back.
Yeah. Yeah. He's had bad turnovers. Generally, they get away with it, but more than should happen, they bury it in the net, and that's been it's been key to some games. So like I said, normally feel like maybe Graves might be a 7th defenseman kind of guy, but with Nemeth being the way he is, I definitely feel more comfortable with Graves in the lineup.
Well, and Graves and Makar work well together.
Yeah.
Much better than Makar and anybody else. So.
I don't know. Makar Taves
which is weird.
Looked really good.
No, it's bad. It's bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. When Graves has his like signature one big mistake a game, he's got it down to like one signature big mistake a week lately. So it's been okay. But having Nemeth as your 70 is not a terrible place to be.
Yeah, no, not at all. Especially when Timmins is rolling. I'm very into it when Timmins is looking like he has been recently.
He's vibing, dude.
yeah. He struggled early on.
Yeah,
and to a point that was to be expected given his career so far with the injuries and stuff. But I'm really glad that he seems to have gotten it together.
Oh, the Eagles played today.
Do they?
Oh,
no, they did. They won.
Weird. So they canceled yesterday's game because of COVID, right?
It was the day before, I thought.
Yeah, it was the day before.
Okay.
So they must have got all their shit figured out.
Well, I was gonna say Bo hopefully is close to back soon, can maybe play in the playoffs, but they wanted to give him an Eagles conditioning stint. But how do you give him an Eagles conditioning stint if they have a COVID pause? But it looks like that's done now, so maybe it's fine.
Yeah.
Does not look like he played in this game though. Yeah, he didn't. But sorry, I was checking their Twitter and I was like, Eagles win 7-4, and I was like, huh?
I don't understand. When did this happen? Why?
7-5. Sorry. Yeah, it was like literally the tweet was like 3 minutes ago, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess the Eagles played. But yeah, my point being just like our defense is so deep.
Yeah.
I was bringing up Bo because I was just like, oh.
Bull. Yeah, I hope he makes it back, and I hope he kills it in the playoffs.
If not, he'll be way better next year, I guess.
He just pulls
I just
Paul
hope he's
McCarr.
not big old fucking scrambled egg boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really worry us. I got some guys out with head injuries like this for a while.
It's rough. But you know, apparently the league doesn't really care to stop these head injuries, as we saw last week.
Yep.
Very.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you haven't heard?
I haven't heard, but I'm sure I will when we're done talking about the Avs games.
I mean, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about the Avalanche games, right? They're in a good position to just kind of clinch the division, the President's Trophy, if they want to. And if they don't, it's not the end of the world, and we see Minnesota in the fucking first round of the playoffs, and we get to crush their hopes and dreams.
They're playing some good hockey. I don't know, man. Part of me wants Minnesota to go up against Vegas.
Oh,
because apparently Vegas just doesn't know how to handle them.
They're Minnesota kind of gets under Vegas's skin and has kind of gotten the better of them recently, and the teams hate each other. They hate each other a lot.
No, not recently. Minnesota's been ruining Vegas all season.
What I was about to say, I saw a stat. It was like Vegas inside of Minnesota's arena. I think they have actually like 1 or 2 wins, like overall within their lifespan as a team. Like they just get destroyed in Minnesota for whatever reason. It's just that team can't win in Minnesota.
Yeah, Vegas came back and won one of the most recent games, but that's it.
Yep.
It's actually been really frustrating because it was like, all right, Minnesota, beat Vegas and we'll be good in regulation, please. And then they went to overtime and lost it. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, I think they did that the last 2 times, right? Because we were like, fuck, they gave Vegas a point. Fuck, they gave Vegas another point. What are they doing?
I don't know if it was Minnesota, but I know Vegas has just been winning a ton. I know, like Anaheim just lost to one of those two. I don't know. I've been following it very closely. I've just been like, wow, both of these teams are getting points, and I'm upset.
Yeah, the Ducks brought the Wild to OT 2 nights in a row, and then beat the Ducks because it's the Ducks. I don't know why.
The Ducks.
And they were like, oh yeah, we were eliminated first. What are we doing?
It's more like Minnesota sitting there going like, we're not going to play hockey until the 3rd. Like, come on.
I will say it was pretty cool seeing the video of Ryan Miller talking to his parents in the stands last night for his final NHL game.
Yeah.
He seemed very emotional, and after a long career of being my favorite goalie, just because he called somebody out for being an asshole.
Milan Lucic?
One Mr. Milan Lucic called him a piece of shit on national television, and
so right.
He's not wrong.
All the Avs stayed out on the ice to talk to Marlowe after their last game.
Yeah.
So I guess he's probably done.
That was the rumor going around, right? Is that the players probably know something that Marlowe hasn't said publicly yet. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's done. He's had a good run. He is on the Sharks, so I mean that's never a good sign.
Imagine being a legendary Shark.
I was about to say he is literally the Sharks' legendary player that left and then came back.
Evander Kane is also a legendary Shark. He's also legendary with the Lone Sharks, but
Oof. All right. So let's rip the Band-Aid off. This is pretty much the entirety of our league news thing, because I think that we're kind of gonna go off on some tangents here.
You need to run through you need to do it some chronologically. That's the word. You need to run through it chronologically. I need to have this recounted for the boys and myself for memory's sake.
Monday, May 3rd. Tom Wilson gets into a scuffle. So yeah, last Monday, which happens to be May 3rd. I had pulled it up on my Google Calendar, so you know it's right.
Damn, he's good.
So last Monday, the Washington Capitals and the New York Rangers played each other, and during the game, some shenanigans happened. Tom Wilson is a player for the Capitals who kind of has a history of doing stupid shit and getting suspended for it and hurting people, right? On Monday, there was a scrum in front of the net, as happens lots of times in an average game. Tom Wilson ends up falling on a Rangers player, which is totally like normal and fine. And as he's getting up, he punches the player that he fell on in the back of the head.
Pavel Buchnevich.
That is his name. Remember it because he'll come up later.
It's a secret tool that'll help us later.
So he punches Buchnevich in the back of the head.
Buchnevich will remember this.
And so, when you do that, the other team doesn't tend to like it, right? So they pull Wilson off of Buchnevich, and a scrum ensues. Everybody's looking for somebody to just kind of tie up and like grapple with. It's a pretty standard thing in a game. I would say that punching people in the back of the head maybe is not.
Well, I was about to say, the thing that you need to mention is the person who actually pulls Wilson off was Timmy Bernerin, one of the smallest people in the world.
Well, no, he hadn't even gotten involved quite yet, because...
No, he was.
No, he was the guy who first pulled him off. He was the guy who got him off.
Okay, so then Wilson doesn't know this, right? Because all he sees is that there's a Ranger player on the ground behind him, and he assumes that he is the guy that pulled him off initially, gets up and punches him in the leg, which could be worse, but you shouldn't be fucking punching guys while they're down, especially when they're being tangled up by another guy. That's just, it's not part of the fucking hockey code, all right? You don't do that. I mean,
he started the scrum by punching somebody while he's down, so I guess he's continuing that behavior.
Yep.
Listen, Tom Wilson is a saint. He's a great hockey player, has a ton of that grit, and all these pussy new age millennial hockey fans are just trying to wimpify the game.
He got suspended earlier in the year for hospitalizing a guy.
Yep. Apparently he still has vision issues sometimes.
Yep.
I was about to say 7 games he got suspended for, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, 7-game suspension for boarding Brandon Carlo so hard that he had to be hospitalized. Very cool.
Very cool, NHL.
That's not where our story ends, because you see, he punched the guy when he was down and got pulled off. So he starts punching another guy while he's down, and he's going to get pulled off again, right? Once again, he's pulled off by our Artemi Panarin, and they start kind of grappling with each other. There's nothing like super serious about it at the beginning, but what ends up happening is during the struggle, Wilson ends up knocking Artemi Panarin's helmet off, grabbing him by the back of the head and kind of slew-footing him, which is when you take out somebody's legs and force the front of their body in the opposite direction. Whether he meant to do this or not is irrelevant, because it's what happened. Right, so he pulls on Artemi Panarin's the back of his head, and he goes
meant to do it
head first into the ice.
Yep. And then Panarin left the game and was out for the season. Yep. Their season's over now, but it was 3 games, so everyone's like, "Oh, he only was 3 games, whatever." But he got slammed head first into the ice, so
he almost got slammed twice on the ground because
he actually did get slammed twice. He just didn't hit his head the second
time.
Well,
yeah, I was about to say, if he didn't brace himself for the second throw, that would have been 2 hits to the head.
So not only did Tom Wilson realize that he threw somebody down head first onto the ice, he picked them up and tried to throw them down again.
Yep. And
after punching 2 guys while they're down.
Yeah. And for context, Artemi Panarin is the Nathan McKinnon of the New York Rangers right now. He is their number 1 guy.
Imagine if Nathan McKinnon wasn't like a helmet throw and reverse hitting badass.
Yeah. And imagine if Nathan McKinnon didn't have good taste. And wanted
Yeah,
to...
imagine if Nathan McKinnon's listed height was 5'11", but they were lying about it, and he's actually shorter and also less than 160 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say Panarin is very small, but also he was third in MVP voting last year, so he's a really good player.
Also, he was gonna sign with the Avs, and his wife told him she didn't want to live in Colorado.
Yep.
Feel sad.
In a season where you don't want to like give Nathan McKinnon the makeup award, I think that Artemi Panarin should have won the MVP last year. But you know, so needless to say, he's just a very good fucking player. One of the best in the league, and if this ends up fucking him up going forward, that's really fucking bad. And
he's known for celebrating by kicking his skate highly into the air.
Yeah. Talk to the fucking razor blade on my feet, bitch.
I was about to say, hey, at least when he does it, he's never truly near anyone.
Yeah, he does it responsibly, unlike Tom Wilson. So Tom Wilson...
You're welcome for that one. I'm not going to delete it for you.
doesn't get kicked out of the game, and everybody kind of waits with bated breath for what's going to happen to him the next game, because this is
he gets a 10-minute misconduct but does not get kicked out of the game.
Yes, because this is a guy with a history. He's done it before. He got suspended for 20 games last year, right?
He was told that he was going to get 20 games. He got that put down to 13.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So they
arbitration.
They intentionally set the bar high because they knew that arbitration was going to set it lower, and he ended up with 12 or something, 12, 13?
It was 13.
Yeah. That seems right. So he's a guy with a history, and earlier when he got suspended for 7 games, technically enough time had passed since his suspension the season before on account of COVID and everything.
Yeah, that he didn't meet the repeat offender criteria.
Yeah. So now that this event happened and he does meet the repeat offender criteria, people were wondering what was going to happen. And if you guys at home don't know, not one fucking thing happened.
No, he got fined $5,000.
Okay. That's nothing. So he got fined $5,000 for the initial punch on Buchnevich, which
that's all they mentioned was the first punch on Buchnevich. It was just the one punch is all they mentioned. They ignored everything else.
Yeah, which means that everything else is just fine then? You're just allowed to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you not know you can grab someone by their hair and then throw their head into the ground with no helmet on?
We don't want the best players in the sport playing the sport.
No.
Helmets are just cosmetic. They serve no actual purpose. Smile.
Yeah.
Well, he took his goddamn helmet off, so ripped it right off before he did it.
He's just like, you won't need this, bud. Don't worry.
There will be nothing in the foreseeable future where you might find this to be helpful.
It's like the opposite of the "it's dangerous to go alone, take this" meme.
It's dangerous to go in there with this. Here, let me take it away. Okay, Jesus.
So there's lots of theories about why it is that this happened. But primarily a lot of people are just saying that because he's technically a repeat offender now, and he is a very important part of that Washington Capitals team, not just from a grit perspective. Oh, he said it. But from a skill standpoint.
He said what?
Grit.
What about it?
You said the thing.
What is that supposed to mean?
What thing?
Yeah, what?
He said the name of the thing.
What thing? The name of what thing?
The name of the media.
What media?
Adrian Dater.
That's not media.
Bruh.
So he's an important part of that Capitals team. He provides grit and he provides skill, right? And the Capitals are a team that they're in the playoffs. And the Rangers are a team that their season was going to end no matter what. They weren't competitive, and they were going against a team that was competing for seeding, at the very least, but for the cup when it comes to the playoffs. And if a suspension was handed to Wilson during this time, it would cut into the playoffs. So instead of doing the right thing and suspending a player for a bullshit action, they elected to do nothing.
Well, apparently Peros didn't even want to suspend him last time either.
Yeah, no,
Bettman had to tell him to do it.
It's what I say. Bettman stepped in for that one.
Listen, George Peros has Pedro in his name for a reason, and that's because he's a bitch.
Yeah, but no, they fined him $5,000 and didn't give him anything because they said, well, technically, just punching a guy on the ground is not even worth going into their history, and that is the shittiest excuse I've ever fucking heard. Go fuck yourself.
Bettman should have swooped in like Batman this time too and done it.
Bettman doesn't care. I honestly think he doesn't.
I was about to say, Bettman would be more terrified of pissing off the owner of the Capitals.
I think.
What about the owner of the one of the original 6 teams, the New York Rangers?
Well, Gary Bettman doesn't care about pissing them off because
I know.
we'll get back to that later.
So, well, that's just why I'm saying he doesn't care about pissing the Capitals off either.
Oh my god. So this sparked an entire fucking incident, right? Because this is obviously unacceptable management from the Department of Player Safety and from the NHL. You can't let this happen to your star players.
Yeah, there's no way around it, right?
So the Rangers decided that they were going to take matters into their own hands on social media.
They were going to go for the fucking throat.
The next day, the Rangers put out a tweet expressing disappointment in the league's decision not to suspend Wilson.
Well, they said to not suspend him indefinitely.
Well, yeah, they said that they should have done it indefinitely, right?
Yeah, they wanted him gone from the league.
But in addition, they wanted George Peros fired.
Oh yeah, and they also said they stated at the end.
I agree with that one.
Which, given what I know, does not. I mean, how could you let that slide?
Well, and George Peros is I mean, he was an enforcer in the league, which just means he was out there to do dirty shit, and that was more acceptable in the league. That was his like sole purpose for existing. And they got him for the head of player safety for some reason. It's basically like putting Tom Wilson at the head of player safety after his career is kind of the equivalent there.
Yikes.
So yeah, it's dumb. But
yeah, so the logic that they're using there is the same that like the government uses whenever there's like a hacker that does something like crazy, and they're like, well, rather than getting a bunch of prison time, you can like work for us and tell us how you did this thing and make it more secure, right? Where theoretically Peros knows the dirty shit that players do and why they do it, and can kind of read between the lines and use that in order to determine what is acceptable and what is not. And I think that clearly Wilson's actions were unacceptable. So if that's the reason you got him, why is he still here?
Yeah, instead you have a curmudgeon-y old bitch who's just like, oh, that was nothing like what I saw back in my day. Not worth a suspension, clearly.
Yep. So the New York Rangers, the tweet was like kind of savage. So like word for word, the New York Rangers are extremely disappointed that Capitals forward Tom Wilson was not suspended for his horrifying act of violence last night at Madison Square Garden. Wilson is a repeat offender with a long history of these type of acts, and we find it shocking that the NHL and their Department of Player Safety failed to take appropriate action to suspend him indefinitely. Wilson's dangerous and reckless actions have caused an injury to Artemi Panarin that will prevent him from playing again this season. We view this as a dereliction of duty by NHL head of player safety George Peros and believe he is unfit to continue his current role.
He did a duty job.
Yes.
Haha.
That's coming from a league where most GMs and teams and stuff like that are just going to go with like, well, we don't agree with the call, but you know, the guys know what they're doing and we have a lot of respect. It's a tough job for them, blah, blah, blah. To be that direct and use that strong language,
It's intense.
That's crazy.
I mean, it makes sense to me. The guy got rid of someone's safety gear and then fucking smashed him.
Well,
Yeah, but still, like, just in this league, you know?
yeah, I was about to say,
Unprecedented.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I get that it's like, whoa, they said something, but still, just, fuck. Active violence, I think, is accurate.
Agreed.
I think that the language that they used in that statement was extremely apt. I think that they were right. And
they also committed an act of violence against Pharaohs. Verbally beat that bitch down.
And
I'm
so
all about it.
The next day is when stuff really, really kind of hits the fan. So first of all, the league fined the New York Rangers $250,000 for tweeting that out or making that official statement.
That was surprisingly low for Elliot Friedman. He thought it would be like $1 million.
A lot of people
and
thought
heard
it was
that a
gonna
lot
be
of
$1
people
million.
thought it would be like $1 million. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone was just in there because some other team made a less threatening statement and they got fined a fuck ton of money. So
it was the Sharks, like in 2013, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember
for Rafi Torres stuff, and they were fined $100,000. So the thought was, well, all these years later, you'd think the fine is way higher, right?
For those who don't know, who's Rafi Torres?
Rafi Torres is a dirty guy.
The Tom Wilson of his age.
I would say worse.
Yeah, definitely worse. He got.
I don't think Tom Wilson is like Matt Cook, Rafi Torres levels of just like pure country, but
yeah. I mean, speaking of, Matt Cook chimed in and was like, "What Wilson did was shitty." You know, when Matt Cook isn't on your side as an enforcer, that you did something wrong.
Matt Cook has fundamentally like ruined and altered people's careers. For the boys who don't know, Erik Karlsson on the Sharks, Matt Cook took his skate into his Achilles heel and sliced it. And it's largely thought of as that's the reason why he stopped being as good as he was. So people are hailing Cale Makar as the next Erik Karlsson. So it's basically like if somebody went up and shoved their skate into the back of Cale Makar's leg and ruined his career. Not ruined, but like really, really affected how quality he could skate.
Mm-hmm.
He can skate better than I can English, but you get the point.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, I don't know if Tom Wilson's that bad, but he's done enough just aggressive, pure, like, even if you buy into the he just like sees red and just does dumb shit, like, even if that's what you buy into, he's done it so much.
I was about to say, it's just such a long history. It's kind of like, dog, just get out of here.
Well, and people are like, Panarin deserved it for jumping on his back. And I'm like, sucker punch him like a normal fucking hockey player, dude.
Yeah, right? Like, people jump on each other's backs all the time, and I never see people respond by tearing off a helmet and throwing the guy down to the ice head first. Like,
twice.
Just shove each other, punch each other, get your
throw
fucking
a helmet
shots
at somebody,
in, right?
Or just pull a McKinnon, throw your helmet at him. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, you pulled the helmet off, give it back to him.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, too. He got fined the same amount as McKinnon did.
Yeah. Yep.
For all that.
Like, McKinnon might as well have thrown the helmet with the fucking head attached with what Wilson got away with. Fuck.
Hit a grenade in there, tossed it at him. Oop, 5K. Whoops.
So, I did forget about one thing. Right after this happened, the Tom Wilson thing, the Washington Capitals social media.
Oh yeah.
That guy was spicy. That person was on another level.
So people were immediately like very mad about it, right? And he tweeted out one of those like dumb memes where it's like the line segmented into like different parts or whatever, and each part was just like, "Oh, you let Tom Wilson live in your head rent free. He's one of the best scorers in the league, blah, blah, blah." Just kind of like making fun of the anger at Tom Wilson for a very justifiable situation to be angry at him for. They deleted the tweet really quickly.
Not really quickly. It was like 3 or 4 hours. I was sitting there like, this is still up, huh?
And then people retweeted it. So like it's out there. There's no hiding it.
So like everything about this is just such a shit show. And it's on both sides too, right? Because the announcement comes out that they're fining Tom Wilson instead of suspending him. The New York Rangers put out their official statement, and then the next day the Rangers fired their GM and their president of hockey operations.
So I've heard something that was interesting on that. It was so their owner fired them after they made a statement that they had nothing to do with that statement. So people have been thinking that it was the owner who told their social media to put out that statement. And
yeah, that was me that said that.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. I also heard it from other sources, which makes it even more believable. I'm sorry, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, I was speculating that like when it happened, I was like,
I honestly originally I didn't. I thought they were just getting, since they spoke out, they were getting shot in the foot.
Yeah, but so I was speculating that as it happened, and then an article comes out, like an interview, and it's like, yeah, we didn't feel like the team had enough grit and stuff, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. So he's doing this. The owner, like, that was before they got fired, I think.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, so the owner put the statement out because he wanted grit, and then that came out, and then they got fired, and then and then there was more discussion of grit, and I was like, yeah, so this owner is just pissed.
Yeah, the owner's just mad.
Yeah.
I'd fire the coach who has stifled your two like most promising prospects before I did that. But
yeah, I was just like, I was really surprised that he didn't just get rid of everyone because Jesus Christ, that coach is bad.
Lafreniere, you could maybe get a different coach and see if it would work better with your two most promising future players. But
so here's the thing: they said like the team doesn't have enough grit and they don't like the leadership, right? And like, sure, whatever, that's fine. But they're also they were saying that like one of the reports coming out of it was that they weren't happy with the rebuild and the pace that it was going at, and I feel like that fits a lot less as far as like making sense goes because they are ahead of schedule when it comes to
they get the biggest free agent he's worked out, like 2 mega draft picks.
Yeah.
They literally were handed a free first overall draft.
Zibanejad broke out like something crazy.
And then they have Adam Fox playing like a fucking absolute wild man down there. And the only bad thing is their Trouba, the Trouba signing. That was the only thing that's been bad.
But like, I really don't think you could ask for much more.
Yeah. So to me, it looked like those two were not towing the line. They weren't willing to say crazy shit to the NHL. And they got fired for it. I think that the grit and leadership stuff are probably real concerns that they were able to leverage into supposedly making that make sense. But overall, the New York is a team that is on the rise.
Well, I think the grit just aligns with that, with like the specifically the like didn't want to speak out.
Yeah,
I think he was like, oh, you don't, so you don't see things this way. Like you're lacking the grit too. You're the reason the grit's not there. Fine, later. I feel like it's all like connected on that front.
Yeah,
but I do think the rebuild's not going fast enough is bullshit.
Yeah, it definitely is.
No one can pull the going from the 16, 17 Avs to the 17, 18 Avs as the Avs did, but like the Rangers.
Yeah,
went
if that's
from,
the benchmark, like who?
The Avalanche. Sorry, the Rangers went from we're rebuilding to 2-3 years later, just going like, oh, we're either playoff team or we're right below a playoff team.
And to be fair, they're like way underperforming for the talent they have. But
well, yeah, they have 2-star players doing nothing, and basically have Panarin back carrying that team to playoff contending.
When he was out for a bunch of time because of like Russia.
Oh yeah, well, okay, when that happened, you just had to say that team's not going to make it.
So Tuesday happens. All that shit goes down. Wednesday, they announced that they fired their people. And also happening that day, that same day,
was a
rematch.
Yep.
Capitals versus Rangers. And
Tom Wilson was playing that night.
Tom Wilson was playing that game, which is one reason that people were thinking that maybe he should have been suspended for a game or two.
just one game to not play that one. Like, come on. Now, do I think this might have happened either way? Yeah.
Perhaps.
Do I think it would have been as bad and as intensive and as like long standing? No.
No. So, this game was a shit show. Like 100+ penalty minutes in the first period.
Holy shit.
There are 6 fights.
The puck dropped, and immediately every single forward on both teams dropped the gloves to fight each other.
A defenseman was about to fight Chara and saw it was Chara and then was like, never mind. And Chara was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that is one thing whenever people go like, hey, props for Chara for not going to kill someone. It's more like, the guy saw that
he was
they were
trying to,
fight.
and the guy was like, there's no fucking way. And Chara was like, hey, I got you.
Like,
No,
we'll shove each other.
Chara is 6'9" for the boys who don't know.
I see.
Nice.
Yeah,
This battle will end in my defeat.
it's literally like on ice. The guy's like 7 foot something. It feels like, and you just sit there and go like,
Yeah, because he gets that extra boost from the skates and stuff.
Yeah, you just sit there and look up at him, and you're just like, yeah, this. Oh yeah, that's him next to the league's smallest player.
Yeah.
The guy is at his elbows, for fuck's sake. That's yeah, no, it's
that dude is massive.
It's so scary.
How tall is the small dude?
I think he's like
Irrelevant.
he has to be irrelevant. He's
I
probably
see.
like 5
Okay.
something. He's probably like 5 something. Let's be fair.
This is him with Avs legend Rocco Grimaldi, who is 5'6".
5'6".
Oh, I see.
Yeah, apparently Rocco Grimaldi is the shortest in the NHL right now at 5'6". So if that tells you where the league's at.
Yeah.
Pepe hands.
Shouty.
So yeah, the opening face-off happens. 3 fights break out. The next couple of shifts, Wilson finally gets on the ice for the first time and immediately gets jumped by somebody.
Yeah.
And then on his way out of the penalty box, stuff happens. Words are said, and they give him a 10-minute misconduct to get him off the ice, and then lie about an injury so he doesn't have to come back.
Yeah. Someone else got a misconduct because they made the flexing motion that he did in the penalty box last game.
Yeah, when he went to the penalty box, he made a flexing motion, like, "Oh, mess with me."
And then so that was last game. So then this game, the guy on the bench did that, and they kicked him out too. And then they were like, Tom Wilson has an upper body injury, he won't return. And everyone's like, oh, huh.
Oh, his feelings are hurt. I know.
And then there were a couple more fights, and then a critical penalty.
Yeah. So, Chekhov's Buchnevich. Pavel Buchnevich is going at it with Anthony Mantha. They're kind of slashing at each other, and honestly, Mantha is being a complete dick, right? But he does that so that he can draw a penalty like this. And Buchnevich cross checks him right in the fucking face, like.
Oh yeah, he gave him a really good one straight across the face.
Just lunged into a fucking cross check that hit him right in the face.
Yeah, truly awful shit.
Yeah. The kind of shit that you don't like seeing, even though you're kind of rooting for Buchnevich at this point after having been punched in the back of the head by fucking Tom Wilson, right?
Mm-hmm.
But usually it's a play that kind of ends with the player getting 2 to 5 games as a suspension, depending on history and what they think the intent is and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, he flew right the fuck into him.
He flew right into him.
I'm working on a video right now. Obviously not good for audio format, but just so you guys can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. And I was very much like, oh, he should be suspended. And they gave him 1 game because, they knew everybody was going to be pissed. And then people were already pissed either way. They were going to be no matter what. But
so they were put in a situation, right, where normally it's a 2 to 5-er.
Ooh.
And they had just gotten done not suspending Tom Wilson for something that should have gotten him a bunch of games, right? But at the same time, they have to suspend him because it's a suspension worthy play. So they take the absolutely most like middle of the road, compromise filled coward's way out and give him a single game.
Yep.
Yeah,
and Tom Wilson was playing the next game, by the way, so that injury didn't turn into anything.
Yeah.
Today?
No.
Oh, the
he got injured
injury
yesterday. Well, yeah, the made up injury didn't happen, and then he got hurt actually yesterday.
Oh yeah, he had that knee on knee.
He's playing their next game.
Well, he played their next game after that game, and that game was yesterday, and he got injured in that game.
Okay, yeah, because he got knee on kneed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now he's actually hurt.
Yep. So it's one of those things where like a knee on knee is brutal, and
I'm supposed to say both players got wiped out.
You don't want it to happen to anybody, but like I certainly don't feel bad for Tom Wilson.
Yeah, I mean,
that's some karma.
You know, not gonna sit here and say ha 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 fuck you, but also like, well,
it's like
man. It kind of looked like Tom Wilson is the one who went for the knee too, so like.
It's like certain public figures that get punched in the face at like conventions at stuff where you're just like, well, I'm not going to say that somebody should have done it, but am I sad it happened? Nah.
Yeah.
So
well, and then now fucking the player safety is going crazy.
Yeah. They got called out.
I mean, they're not doing anything super outward, but it's like 4 or 5 fines a day announced. Like, okay. Paros is just like, fine, bitch.
Yeah,
fines.
But
fines
so
Rantanen for diving.
It's stupid. Yeah, they fined Rantanen for diving. That
he didn't dive on that play. I swear to fuck.
He jumped up to try to get out of the way of the ref at the same time that he was getting tripped. But you know.
Well, yeah. So the stick went between his legs, knocked him off balance. The ref was in the way. He jumped to try and avoid the ref and fell because the ref was in the way. Like he didn't fucking dive.
I mean, he literally dove, but did he dive in an embellishment sense? Nah.
Yeah.
But like,
there wasn't even. I was supposed to say that play didn't even have a embellishment on. Like they didn't call him for
just like an afterward.
Yeah, so that's just the most bullshit ass shit to do. Fuck you, Paris.
So the thing about all these fines coming in now and like people not getting like actually suspended and stuff like that is that I feel like it sets a really bad precedent, right? Because when a player safety case goes to arbitration, they use similar incidents to determine whether or not a play is suspension worthy. And if they can look back in recent history and say like, hey, this player did the same thing last year and they got 5K and not like 2 games or whatever, then who are we protecting? We're not protecting anybody.
Paros' ego and ideal of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're just protecting Gary Bettman and fucking George Paros and their fragile fucking masculinity. Can't handle being questioned by fucking people who know what they're fucking talking about. Like,
well, and Paros was gonna be at that second game where shit went down, and apparently he canceled last minute.
Yep.
I thought that was funny.
Rude. And it's ridiculous. I think that it's very concerning because I think that one of the things that is going to make the NHL more entertaining for new fans, especially on this new TV deal, is watching good players play good hockey. Like, who is the player on the Avalanche that you would say is the closest thing that we have to Tom Wilson?
The 2 homies. Who might you say? I know who I'm going to say, but
the only player that I can think of that kind of has collisions often is Rantanen. That's kind of
one.
it, but not really.
What about you, Devin?
I don't know.
Toss a name out there. Who do you see in the middle of shit all the time? Pissing people off.
Pissing people off?
Yeah. He has a New York state of mind. It's nasty Naz, bro.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking.
So I would say Kadri or last year's Comfer, not this year. Comfer hasn't really been doing it as much this year.
He's been a non-factor almost entirely on all facets.
I think Jose is more picked that role up of just pissing people off for Comfort.
But yeah, so now Naz has a couple years under his belt of not doing shit. He like fucking pissed off Delorier on the Ducks, but like whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't like cross-checking someone in the face to fucking, break their sinuses bad anymore, so.
Yeah. So my point is, as new fans, Dylan and Devin, you've seen lots of Avalanche games. And if I'm not mistaken, from like hearing you guys talk about it, you guys are more drawn to like Sam Girard, Kel McCarr, Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, all these like skill players, right? And not so much like the muck and grind to be a dick players like JT Compher or Nazem Kadri, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, hold up. Kadri also is skill. Just not this season.
Yeah.
He's a good comparison to Wilson because Wilson is a piece of shit hand skill player.
Yeah, true.
True.
I don't know. I think they got a lot of enjoyment out of fucking the Delorier stuff, but that also wasn't him going out of his way to hurt somebody. It was just like
it was more us laughing
a sucker
at
punch, and then that guy being mad for every game we played against them for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And I just think that growing the game is going to be more about Nathan McKinnon's, Connor McDavid's, Austin Matthews's, people like that, and not Tom Wilson's.
I don't entirely agree with you. I think the market is there. I think if Z was still on this team, the boys would be all about the Z.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I agree with you in terms of like, yeah, nobody needs to be like actively going out of their way to hurt people, but the physicality, the muck and grind, like fucking, I'm gonna piss people off and get under your skin is still fun, and I think it's a fun aspect of hockey that you don't get in other sports. But you have to really punish it when people go out of line and establish what the line is. I think you grow the sport with both. I agree that there's a big skill, like, and that's where like a lot of it's gonna be. But I think you find the line, and I think for the most part the line is fine.
I think that recently with these suspensions and stuff, I think it's going too far one way for me personally.
Well, no, I know. I mean, for the most part, right? Like this Tom Wilson shit is like, a big outlier. But like Nazem Kadri did some bullshit and got suspended for an entire playoff round. Like sure,
Yeah.
And whenever shit was happening, it was like, I would hope that like 2 wasn't the normal amount of games to miss, and you might up it to 4 to like actually start dissuading people from doing it, because you miss 2 games, like whatever. But I think in general, like the balance of how the sport is played has been fine. I don't think you see a lot of like Connor McDavid fucking getting concussed 3 times and having his whole season ended anymore, or fucking like all the Crosby shit with all his injuries. Like again, McDavid's first year. You do see some of it with like Rantanen, who just gets hooked and slashed and shit all the time, and I think there's work to be done.
Yeah,
but I don't know, man. I just feel like people specifically like Tom Wilson are the real detriment. Yeah. And then the clown show fucking 100 penalty minute fucking game. First period.
It was it was a fun one to watch for me personally, but I know that there was a time where that was the norm and not like.
I didn't think it was fun, actually. I thought it was boring as shit. I watched it and I thought it was like really kind of not interesting, because it was a lot of sitting around, right? It's guys fucking hugging each other, caressing their fucking necks and giving each other smooches, and then fucking sitting there for an extra 5 minutes waiting for the game to start again. It made that first period 1 hour long instead of like 30 minutes.
I was about to say, I heard someone describe it as like, it started, the fights started happening, and you're like, cool, the rest of this game is dog shit.
I was really thankful because I got a little bit of extra time on my test. I had a test that started half an hour. I mean, half an hour before the game started, but since the game got pushed back so much because of the fucking Rangers game, I got a bunch of extra time, and I was like, all right. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the sport's in a decent spot on that front until this happens, and then we see them not do anything about it, and it's like, well, you could set the standard.
Job, yeah.
Yeah, set the fucking standard. Like,
yeah,
draw the line. Because now the line is a lot more ambiguous than it was before all this.
Yeah.
Even giving fucking Tom Wilson 7 games for the Carlos shit, like, you know, some people might have been like, oh, it needs to be more, and you could probably agree. I don't think that'd be unreasonable.
Yeah.
But 7 games is a sizable chunk of games.
Yeah, especially in a shortened season like this.
Yeah.
To be fair, I still don't agree with the whole the repeat offender time limit bullshit.
I agree. Yeah.
If you have like X amount, yeah, you should be just a repeat offender no matter what.
Well, okay, like I would say if you did something once and that 18 months passes,
yeah,
then I'm cool with it, right? Or like in Naz's case, where he had 2 really shitty years and he's been fine since.
Yeah, no, again, I understand that. I'm more just
like you know, Wilson, it's like, okay, well, he benefited from COVID time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he would have, if the COVID time did not exist, yeah, he would have got a repeat offender.
Yep. So speaking of Tom Wilson and the line, this is a kind of a bit of a tangent, and I haven't talked to anybody about this, but I've got a weird question / theory about this season, and I wonder if it's something that you've thought about, Jake or Indy. So Tom Wilson went into that penalty box after getting the penalty for punching Buchnevich in that Monday's game, took his like jersey off and started like flexing and looking tough and stuff like that. And my girlfriend asked me, like, is this guy on drugs or what? Because he just looks like he's crazy. He's wilding out for no reason, blah, blah, blah. And that got me to thinking a couple days later. Me, Jake, and Indy are aware that there has been a pretty well documented drug problem with the NHL in the past, due to how rigorous the season tends to be, right? With like cocaine and substances like that give people energy. And I was thinking, with the COVID season, where are these hockey players getting their drugs?
From the same people? I don't know. You think the fucking drug dealers are fucking, you know, oh shit, COVID's on, I gotta follow the law, I can't go fucking sell drugs, dude.
I'll say it, like...
I mean, half of it's from the trainers if we're talking painkillers. I didn't think he looked like he was on drugs, though. I think he looked like he knew exactly what he was doing and fucking playing it up.
Oh, I don't think so
Coke is on the ice already anyways.
That is not an allegation that Tom Wilson does drugs. It just got me on a weird line of thought.
Well, yeah, I mean, all the painkillers and shit, it's the fucking trainers. I also know that the NHL only tests for certain kinds of steroids, so it's a safe bet to say that most people probably are on some sort of performance enhancing situation.
Yep.
You know, I don't know who is, who isn't. Don't feel super interested in discussing that, but
nope.
It's been known to be a widespread issue. But yeah, I mean, fuck, dude. My Coke dealer said the government said he can't fucking go out in COVID. So like, I don't know where I'm gonna get my drugs. Fuck, man.
Hey, what if they're just concerned about their health, man?
Yeah.
They can't ship out their hunk no more. Oh no.
See, I was thinking of more of like a caper, right? Where like the drug dealer has to break into the hotel that the Washington Capitals are staying in order to provide for the Putin party that Alex Ovechkin is holding in like the penthouse.
I lost my left winger to the hunk. I lost my right winger to the hunk dizzle. Also, speaking of like, okay, so this is completely irrelevant.
Okay.
I guess, I mean, it has to do with lines. So, you know, the cocaine segue is there. But fucking Devin was like, he called the top line the front line, and I was like, bro, fuck yeah.
Yeah, he was like, Joe's on the front line, and we're like, wait, whoa.
He thought I was ragging him. He thought I was making fun of him, but I was like, I actually kind of love that, dude. Fucking front lines, bro. That stuck with me.
I think Brandon Saad should be on the front line. He's a man who knows what to do in the trenches, you know?
Yeah, shotgun.
That actually kind of kicks ass. Yeah, so I mean, like, that's the big news. Utter shit show, total fiasco.
Yeah, there was, I don't know, Ryan Miller's retiring, David Backus is retiring.
Yeah.
Patrick Marleau's retiring.
But not officially, so.
I mean, you know, he might as well have been retired a couple years ago with how he plays, but yeah, I mean, McKinnon's out, supposedly on maintenance.
I was about to say, quote unquote, out.
Pre-playoff maintenance, though not officially. That is the accepted among everyone. Obvious thing that's happening.
Yeah.
And make sure he's healthy for the playoffs.
Yeah. Had to make sure all the circuitry was in order.
For some reason, ZT didn't think that was worth being in pod news, but disagree.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's not a lot. That kind of the fucking Ranger shit kind of overtook everything.
Yep. That was the big news this week for sure. Because there was a lot to it.
Yeah, I mean, Eagles had COVID, don't have COVID. Newhook has looked just fine.
Yep.
I wouldn't say he's been super hyper mega dominant, but I also wouldn't expect him to be. But he's definitely looked like he belongs, and he is making good decisions, even defensively, which is good.
Yeah. He got his first point.
Yeah, it was a fucking, got the puck to Burrow, who got it to Kale, and Kale just decided to rip the jocks off of like 3 dudes and yeet them into the fucking stands.
Dude, he took the respect. He just ripped that goalie's soul out and threw it into the crowd because he just lazily threw that puck into the net.
Really want hockey anime, bro?
Yeah, dude, it's coming. I mean, it's gonna be cute girl hockey anime, but hopefully it leads to more. Yep. I'm gonna set up like 6 different virtual machines and just spam the episodes all day, every day. Give them great numbers on Crunchyroll.
As soon as
I'll be like, damn, this shit's hot.
As soon as the season is over, we are an anime hockey podcast.
God, I mean, it's not gonna be till the fucking fall either. It's gonna start right as the hockey season starts.
Shit.
Well, then Plan B will go. We'll just have Dakota and Jake play NHL against each other, and we'll just broadcast over that.
I guess we should discuss what we're actually gonna do.
I have some ideas.
But okay, they're probably terrible knowing you, but
you're probably right.
Fuck.
We'll become a Hollow Live Corona fan cast. Wow.
Tune in for our fanfic reads.
Hell yeah.
Sick.
We're gonna.
I need to find it, but somebody wrote a fan fiction about Avs players. I wanted to read it.
Oh no! Oh no!
Dude,
that's
okay.
Scary.
So I was doing some birthday shopping for my mom the other day, and she's massive Avalanche fan. She also likes like rabbits, right? So I was like, what if I combine the two? And I googled Colorado Avalanche rabbit and found a bunch of Puck Bunny blocks. None of which were
hell yeah, bro! I forgot about Puck Bunnies.
What? What is this?
Who interviewed a Puck Bunny?
That was Puck
Soup. What podcast was that? It was Puck Soup. Okay. I remember playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 re-release and listening to that episode on Overgrowth.
So Dylan asked, "What is a Puck Bunny?" A Puck Bunny is just essentially a hockey groupie, if that makes sense.
Okay, that was my assumption, but I wanted to ask to make sure.
Yeah, GO.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're pretty prevalent. That interview was interesting. Apparently, they have like communities where they like coordinate and share info about players and shit.
As somebody who found a Tumblr with lots of pages to individual teams, that checks out.
Hell yeah, dude. Okay, that's the summer, dude. Stories of Avalanche Puck Bunnies.
Dude, are you really posting autographed Avalanche cornhole in the Discord right now?
Oh. Yes, I am, sir.
That's NSFW, my dude.
Yeah. If only we had a channel for that.
Oh, that's one
no.
of my favorite images. We sucked your dick in high school, and the dude's just smiling.
He helped.
All right. Well, this has gone
Dude,
off
that's
the rails
hilarious.
enough.
I have another good one for the boys.
Okay.
Damn. I need to find the Burakovsky one. Okay. The Washington Capitals won the cup.
Oh,
and
yeah. The lady
this
flashed
chick
her
just had her
fucking
tits out
tits,
hanging
yeah.
out. And that's Burakovsky, Avalanche's own, sitting there staring, just like, hey, what up?
Just fucking all over the glass.
The Washington Capitals, as it turns out, have a long and storied history with tits.
Oh.
One porn star, Mia Khalifa, went to a Washington Capitals game, had a puck fly into the stands, and hit her in the tit and pop it.
Oh.
Yep.
I believe I recall conversations about this event.
I
Yes.
still find it funny that I remember I was at school one day and somebody saw one of my jerseys and was like, wait, didn't da-da-da go to a hockey game and get her tit popped? And I just sat there and I was like, I find it hilarious that that is the only thing you know about hockey.
Well, it's like I was listening to a video game podcast, and I was like, why did I see 6 people just toss their gloves at the start of the game and start going at each other? And I was like, oh, so that's how far this is spread, huh?
Yep. And so, like, I guess getting back into it, that's the real shame, right? Is that people are going to be attracted to that, and Bettman will have one rather than, paying for his
It's fine,
fucking
dude.
mistake.
I'm not going to sit here and be on a high horse about it. Fucking, I hope they figure it out, but they won't. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. The real shame was the Oshie hat trick being
I was going to
overshadowed.
say, yeah, that's the one that actually bothers me, is that was ignored entirely almost.
So getting back into it, real quick, TJ Oshie lost his father this week, and his first game back was that Rangers game. He plays for the Washington Capitals, and his first game back, he scores a hat trick, which is that's very impressive. And what a great moment for him.
Yeah, he had a couple dirty ass fucking hits in that game too.
Complete player.
Full package, Manscaped.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know. It sucked. That was a really good story. He played a really good game, and it was kind of eaten up by all the shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even we didn't talk about it till the end of our podcast. So
yeah, I had it in the show notes and just completely forgot about it.
I was sitting here going like, so when are we gonna bring up the Oshie hat trick, guys? And it was like, oh, are we wrapping up here? And I was like, oh shit, I guess Oshie just got left behind. Okay,
TJ, oh shit.
TJ Oshie.
Okay, that's the podcast name.
Yeah.
TJ, oh shit.
TJ We're gonna bait a bunch of Capitals fans into thinking that we're talking shit about TJ Oshie during his big week. All right, so that's the show for the week. If you made it past our fucking insane ramblings, I appreciate it. We'll be back next week. If you want to contact us in the meantime, though, you can find the podcast on Twitter at GritHockeyCast. If you want to find me, I'm at Kumo Dere. And does anybody here know where they can find Jake?
No, he hasn't given me any information about him. He's an
That's
enigma.
right, at Anime as Leaders.
Hell yeah, cool. I didn't feel like saying it.
I was gonna let it just sit as long as possible.
I just imagine Devin running back to the microphone after leaving. That's right.
You know who the fuck it is. Fuck what
shit,
you
this
heard.
thing's still going? That's right.
Yeah,
Anime as Leaders.
He had to run to the fax machine to get the fucking name.
He had to check his notes.
Fuck, I know I have it somewhere.
He had to participate in an ARG. It was fucking crazy. He did it though in record time. Got made it by the end of the podcast. Like, let's go.
Oh yeah. All right. Later.
See you guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Now I'm